Hey guys, Two Dogs here, and today I'm going to share with you something that some followers commented on around how to easily remove the back pin of your California compliant AR-15 so that you can drop your magazine and reload. So in the previous video that I just uploaded, I talk about how to install the fixed magazine release button so that you can't remove your magazine unless you pop open that pin, your back pin, and move up your upper so that you can release. So the idea here is you shoot your 10 rounds. Okay, you shoot your 10 rounds. I'm locked. I want to pop that mag out, so I got to raise my upper just a bit so that that frame clears that button. I can release it at that point, shut it back down, pop in my new one, or pop in my new one, shut it back down. So this company here, it's patriotpin.com. I don't actually know the company name. These guys made a part where I can just easily pull that pin in and out. Now this requires me to replace some other parts as well, just so that guy can stay in there. They make actually a few different parts. So now what we're going to do is we're going to install this, because the option that they gave me was this. I do not want this ring for this pin to be hanging out here and I pull it and I push it back in. No. I want as quick of a release as possible. So this has nothing to do with California compliancy. Okay, I want everyone to be clear on that. This is strictly to make your life easier because you have to use one of these. Stay tuned. Alright, so let's remove the packaging here. And one of the nice things about this packaging is it actually tells you the basic installation, and it's 5 steps. So we're just actually going to follow these steps here for you right now with the parts, and everything comes in the packaging. Alright, let me put that out of the way so that you can see what's here. Okay, step 1, loosen the castle nut to remove the buffer tube and end plate. So we got to get rid of both of those. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the castle nut. Mine is on there pretty darn tight. So I use a sledgehammer and I give it a little tap on my wrench. Not too bad, huh? Now careful. Careful. Let me zoom in. This little bugger, there's a spring in there with a pin. That little guy wants to shoot off. So you're gonna make sure you catch it with your hand. See him? And that's the whole reason why that plate is there, by the way. In case any of your kids were wondering, that guy right there and that pin. Now all kinds of things can happen if you do this wrong, as you've seen in some of my other videos. So I need to ensure that this guy doesn't go flying from my buffer spring as I unscrew. Alright, so I unscrewed my buffer tube right from here. I just unscrewed it. The spring pops out. I'll leave that aside. Still have my little spring here. Don't lose that and don't lose the pin. Okay? And now I can, next step is to remove the takedown pin, then insert the new pin through the takedown arm. So we have to use their pin, obviously, into that lower arm. So we're going to do that now. Alright, so to remove that, we'll take the spring out of the way. To remove this pin, there's a little piece. There's a little pin right here. We move that spring and there's the pin. Don't lose that because you can't find another one. Okay, that holds that pin in place. When you pull it out, it doesn't go all the way out, that's why. And there's a little groove to show you that. He sits right in there, or on the other side. So we're now going to take theirs and their latch. Doesn't look much different to me. And we're going to stick that right back through the hole. And that's what it'll look like. Careful not to lose that guy either. So many parts on an AR. So awesome, but so delicate. Alright. Slide it back in, and now what we want to do is place the new in-plate bracket back over that buffer tube. So we're just basically going to do the opposite of what we just did. And be sure the indent spring goes straight, because that is important. We won't over tighten, but we'll make sure that that gets in. All right, let me zoom in here for you. I've placed the lower in my vise at an angle so that I can get this pin back through the hole, and it's going to line up with, again, I'll show it to you this way, this groove. Right, it slides right in there. So that's the pin they've given me. So I'm going to slide it back in, and the spring will push it all the way in. And I will just play a little bit with this, the pin they gave me, to make sure it's in there, and it is. Alright, now let's put on their end plate bracket. So this is their end plate bracket, right? And this is, let me do a comparison, standard AR on the left, their bracket on the right. That's going to hold that lever. That's the only difference. Okay? You guys know about your buffer tube and the little tooth that needs to go through there. And that's how it fits on. We'll screw that back in. And that's what, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm really zoomed in here. And we just want to screw this, as you guys know, your buffer tube just in far enough to make sure I get it on the camera. I'm going to move the camera here. This is terrible YouTube filming, by the way. But there's no other way to do it. So it's holding this guy down. That's as far as I want to go. So let's get the lighting just right. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw on castle nut, just hand tighten it. Alright, so this lever snaps into place in between those two parts, and you can see how it fits. There's grooves in here where it fits right in there nicely. And so now I'm just going to hand tighten the nut, and I need to screw, I don't know if you guys can see those holes, I need to screw that in there to hold it down with an Allen screw. We'll do that now. I go from the bottom straight up, and I'll tighten by hand for now. Again, California law says that everything has to be fixed. It's the only way to be fixed. Now I'm not doing any Loctite like I told you guys earlier. I'm just going to screw this up in there. Final step. Insert takedown arm into bracket and insert and tighten the hex screw from the bottom. Be careful not to over tighten. I can't state that enough. Do not over tighten this screw, because then what will happen is you can't, with your finger, pop that out. Right? It's too hard. I mean, I might even put a little lube on that. It's not going anywhere, that's for sure. And that looks pretty good to me. Now let's see it all put together. So with this pin, it sticks out a lot farther for this release, but it's still flush like any other pin would be. It's still flush, but it just gives it a little extra room to complete that task. I've wrenched the nut tight. So now let's go ahead and put the upper on and see this in action. Put my hardened arms upper on. Alright, so I don't know how tight that's locked in, but we're going to do it. I don't know how tight that's locked in, I got to be honest with you. It'll be interesting to see once I shoot it. But here's the idea. So there is the California compliant. Can't release my magazine until I pop open the back of my upper. So I'm shooting. I pop it open, slide it up, push out my magazine, put in a new one, slide it down, tighten it. And that's my process now to be California compliant. Sorry that took a long time, guys, but thanks for watching. I'll go back now and put in the spring and everything else I forgot to do. But I cared more about this. Appreciate you watching.